Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, all the crowd, and thank you very much. Before I kick off, I think you already did a wonderful job, right? I don't need any more introduction in my first 5 minutes to the panelists here. I want to start something different. I used to be very energetic and engaging in a live event, but doing it over the virtual is a little bit challenging. But somehow I think we have these features called. You see that you have these features called the chat function. Can I ask the questions for any of you who have actually attended Exabyte event? The e-commerce fest for the last couple of years. Can you type if you're 1 year you attended before? This is the first time you type 0. If you attended 1 time, you type 1. You attended 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, or 6 times, you type a number there. Can we see it on the chat, please? Yes, good. Yeah, it's coming in. Right, we see many of them have, wow, we see people have attended 2 times. Majority yeah, we have 1 time, 2 times over the years. The majority are first timer. Good, thank you and welcome. All right, great. So I think we also have this function called the question and answers, right? So what we did this morning is we have all the experts in the room. But first and foremost, I'm not an expert in SEO and SEM in the room, but I'm in a business world that actually engage SEM, SEM like you, many of the audience, so we can connect in that sense, right? So what I intend to do is that I'm gonna have actually pre-pop a few questions to many of the panelists here, but the question is not the best than those questions come out from you originally. So in this chat at the bottom, you have this Q&A session. Don't try to type a question in the chat, but try to answer in a question and answer session. We try to address as many as we can and stay engaging in the next hour or so. So with that, let me just officially kick off and introduce myself. Okay, my name is Sunny. Actually, I'm a founder and CEO of ClickAsia. We are an e-commerce enabler, right? So to me, it's unlike you. I'm also in the e-commerce business. Many of you are actually, because of this pandemic, have shifted the world to accelerate e-commerce. Just give you some landscape in the Southeast Asia market. Today, when we talk about e-commerce, we can no longer talk about Malaysia. Southeast Asia, we have about 650 million population. Today, because of the shift of this pandemic, we have shifted over additional 40 million people coming on board to e-commerce. And you know what? In Malaysia, interestingly enough, according to the survey by Google, Bain, and Temasek, 92% of them intend to stay online to continue to purchase. And these are what we call, which I learned from Alibaba in the past, right? The non-core users who are forced to shift to buy online and they intend to stay online. Now, out of them, don't you think this is a wonderful way of looking at the market of shift to the e-commerce? If this is so, the question now is that when we talk about today's topics, is about search engine optimization and search engine marketing, SEO, SEM. But this technology has been around for years, right? For many of them who are in this room, as old as me and Jenny, right? In this room, Jenny?
You're older.
Okay, yeah, but I always think that I'm someone who are trapped in a body of almost 50, but still 30s, So that's why you need to have the mindset of the to stay in touch with this technology. But having said that, I'm going to ask my first question. Perhaps I don't think I need any more introductions to the three, our panelists here today, which I think you already have. I'm going to keep the time to really ask questions about, to really kick off the session. The first thing when it comes to SEM, SEO, right, is about investment versus the return, the ROI, right? So I think this is always a question. How much should I invest? It's very easy to have a nice and beautiful website put up. It's very easy to set up a very nice looking official store or even your own seller center in Lazada and Shopee and all the marketplaces and so on. But hey, this is the first step. How about traffic? Traffic is the key, right? If you attend many of the sessions in e-commerce, they probably will tell you, right? No traffic, no upsize your basket, you cannot get a good GMV, right? You need to build conversion. I think traffic is the first part to build visitors. So can I maybe start by asking, can we let, you have two ladies in the room, but I'm going to start the norm the other way around. I'm going to ask the gentleman first in this case, right? Can I have maybe Kean? Kean is from Exabyte. By the way, just a quick intro of Kean. Kean is actually from University of Tar University. Then he has started almost 5 years with Exabyte. So I'm going to call Chan, how do you, is the secret of keeping someone that worked for you for 5 years and grow his career to become a digital marketing manager. So over to you, Kean.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Sunny. So so regarding why I'm actually staying for 5 years, right? Chan actually had a secret plan on every employee in Exabyte as well. So, but it's definitely the opportunity and chances that are given by the company as well. So really appreciate Exabyte for that. Yeah, also coming to the question, right, you're mentioning on what should we actually invest further to drive traffic to the store in this area. So I will actually mention that because first of all, I think currently a website like World of Buzz, say.com, KL Foodie, right? This social news network actually help businesses to reach many potential customers, and actually is growing a lot during this pandemic. And before that, they have actually seen some growth as well, because like this current social news network website, right? They are actually usually on localized in Malaysia. So unlike search engine like Google, social network, they have actually developed targeted ad solution. So using this, business can actually reach potential customer basing on the profile of their user. So in their own website, they have their own unique audiences. So normally it's actually unique access to personal information like of user, like their hobbies, interests, places frequently visited, which help businesses in targeting their advertisement properly as well. So yeah, that's one of it. And the second one I will actually mention on KOL, key opinion leader, that you can actually invest as well. They are quite similar to influencer in regards to follower size, but KOL are actually more like targeted audiences. They are considered expert on certain topic. So they often regarded as trustworthy and authentic. And this able to enable to have influence on their opinions and preferences on their audiences as well. Yep.
Good. Thanks for sharing. Since you touched on this word called KOL, actually that lead me to another question that I wanted to ask. Maybe I'm going to pass the cue to Zevin from DMC, right? Because the fact that in the past we always talk about only keywords to get a set up in SEO SEM, but the fact that because with the introductions of YouTube, TikToks, and many more of live streaming activity into video, so what is the development of SEO SEM with this emergence of video content getting more important? Is there a cross-referencing of keywords in that sense, or that's totally separating altogether in marketing efforts? Yeah.
Right. Thanks, Sunny, for the questions. Okay. Overall here, I think be it is on YouTube, social media, or perhaps on Google, definitely there will be a different set of keywords that people will be searching. It's based on their search intent, you see. So when the moment that people go into marketplaces like Lazada, Shopee, Amazon, there's still search engines right there internally within the marketplace. So it's more towards you need to understand your consumer behavior on what kind of like keywords they will be searching in different platforms. So if today you were to advertise or market your video on YouTube, definitely you need to understand what kind of like keywords that people will be searching on YouTube, right? Most of the time that we are looking at keywords from YouTube is a little bit more towards gearing towards information keywords, the how-to keywords, information type. But when people are searching on Google, we are looking at combination of both. We are looking more towards the information type of keyword and at the same time buying keywords. So people that wanted to look for something, definitely you go to Google to search, right? You don't go to Google like by saying that, hey, today I have nothing to do. So when you go to Google and you search, it's more towards you already know something that you are looking for in your heart, and right there you're searching. So the user's quality that we are looking at is slightly higher where you compare to the traffic that's on social media, because on social media, the users right there, they might not have that buying, that strong of buying intent. But whereas on Google, we are looking at slightly higher quality as compared. So the keywords that we'll be looking at Google is very, I would say, highly converted as compared to others. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you very much. And I think that we have a question coming from Cheryl, and this question is about: is there a way to successfully identify keyword relevant to my SEO and SEM campaign? Right. So I believe, Jenny, this is compliance. Okay, can speak.
No, I'm happy to answer this question. I was like, I really have the right answer for all these things. Okay, so Sunny, to bring back earlier, just now you mentioned about try not to limit to Malaysia. Actually, you're absolutely right. Now that we come online, the region is so big that you can go after so much opportunity. And you're right, people are coming online, and they're staying. They're not like coming online because it's pandemic and then leaving. So that was our initial thought, that they come online, but when the pandemic ends, they're going to go out again, and then they're not going to be online anymore. That's not true. We're seeing it stabilize. In fact, on search, we are seeing like 23% year-on-year increase in search intent queries. So Zevin, you talk about searches, right? So we call this search intent. So the intent are very, very strong. And this 23% is specifically for shopping related queries. So it's growing. So a lot of times people say, oh, people are not searching anymore. That's not true. On Google, we are always tracking the search intent of consumer on a daily basis, monthly basis, and even yearly basis. We would try to conduct like research to really see whether there's any changes in consumer behavior as well. So Sunny, like what I told you earlier, we are actually seeing this emergence of marketplaces. And on Google side, we actually partner with Ipsos. We're going to be releasing our research with Ipsos early this year. That was done early this year, sometime in July. I will share with everyone here. I'll share with Exabytes, and we can also communicate it to everyone that attend here on the differences of behavior between consumer who goes to brand.com and marketplace. What are the differences? Where do they start searching? And the first intent I wanted to share here is actually the result was very, very positive. Actually, both marketplace as well as brand.com play a very, very important role in the consumer journey. However, most of the searchers actually start from Google search before they even consider buying, be it on marketplace or brand.com. So search is their first gateway. And to answer that question, right, is there a successful way to identify relevant keyword to my SEO and SEM? Yes. So on SEM campaign, for example, you can actually use Google Keyword Planner. It's a very, very powerful tool. If you're not aware, do search out for it. It's called Google Ads Keyword Planner. It's really simple. You enter your website and then it will actually churn out different type of keywords that could be relevant to your business. And then from there, you can size the query volume. Since I have everyone here, I want to test out this chat feature, if you don't mind. Who wants to make a guess? How many searches do you think happen in Malaysia on a daily basis? Right? The person that get the closest will get a shrek from Google. I'll figure it out how to send it to you, but the person who got it right, I'll figure it out how to send to you. Okay? 1 billion. We have Shami that says 1 billion. Any more? Any more guesses? 1 million. Come on, more than that. Okay, it's going way faster then. I can see 3 billion, 5 million, 10 million. Nope, I'm not getting the answer yet. 1.5 billion, 19 million, no, way more than 19 million, 500 million. Okay, I'm a little bit lost. Okay, later I'll check through the text to see who got it right. Okay, I think I saw someone already. Okay, everyone can stop. So on average, daily searches is about 95 million to 100 million. So a lot of people ask me, you know, I don't think there are people searching for me. That's not true. Searches are going up significantly, and there's always room for opportunity. And when you talk about how much you invest, are there opportunity? I always say we have not, you know, capped the inventory yet, or as the media say, you know, the inventory is capped. So thank you, Elaine. Google is my best teacher. I do agree as well. So on daily basis, there are 95 million to 100 million opportunity for you to be present, to drive, you know, awareness of your business, to drive conversion for your business. All right. I hope I answer your questions, Cheryl.
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. By the way, Jenny is my ex-colleague at the company. We work with called Microsoft. Google was a taboo word. We only can use the word called Bing those days. Thank you. You know, I think today we changed a lot, right? Yeah. So, okay, let me just carry on. We have a lot of questions coming in, but before I give some stats on this market, right? So, Jenny mentioned something called whether you're in marketplace like Lazada, Shopee, and Zalora, the world, and so on, and also something called brand.com. I think there's these evolutions of whether you started the journey of having your own brand store, online store called brand.com, or you went into marketplace first. But they are also your frontage of business, right? Many of the offline business, you can also have a brick and mortar business. You still need to bring traffic online to offline. So this word called omni-channel, this word called O2O, right? So these are words that are associated with the whole ecosystem of how you need to advertise yourself digitally. Today, you can have customers actually know you digitally, and they actually come to it offline, or they buy to any of your touch point, be it your brand.com or be it your official store. I think to have a seamless, to have the type of integrated go-to-market is what every brand aspires to be, right? And I think we have a few questions coming in. Let me lead to that, right? Yes, 25 million, I got it, right? But before I jump in, I want to share a joke since Jenny talked about it, right? Do you know, actually I learned it from Google when many of us attended Google training, right? They asked this first question, right? Do you know where is the best place to hide a dead body online? That was the first question Google asked when I always attend the training. And you know where's the best place to ask hide a dead body online? The second page of the search and of your whatever search, right? The Google page, right? Because nobody look at second page. Nobody look at your chances of people looking at second page or even second marketplaces is the case, right? So the question is how do you compete yourself to make sure your product appear in the first page, be it in the marketplace, be it in the search engine optimization. Of course, preferably in the Google way, you want the SEO, not the SEM, because you don't want to pay for it, right? So there you need a scale, right? To do that, I think let's look at some questions that are coming in. I think Keith asked this question, right, Keith? The key to maintaining a healthy marketing budget in optimization. How do you draw balance reach within budget to achieve optimum conversion and truly trial and error? I believe maybe this one we want to get back to the two consultants who are used to be advising the client. Maybe this time we start with the ladies first. Zevin, you want to take these questions? Yeah.
Okay. I think budget allocations and the percentage of like investment versus your ROI and things like that, it has been a constant question and a common question that we used to get. And a lot of the time people will be asking like how much should I invest and what is a good like cost per acquisition. That answers, I think, is really pretty much depends on different products that you are selling. Okay, different industry, you will have a different costing when it comes to advertising, SEM. Some keywords, it will cost like less than 1 ringgit per click. Some keywords, it will go to like 10 ringgit per click. Like my industry, digital marketing is a highly competitive like keywords, right? So this keyword can go to 10 ringgit per click. And we have like some in terms of like in travel industry keyword as well, it will go even higher as well. So you really need to check based on your own industry and then to see what is the average rate that you are getting. And this rate will actually fluctuate, depends on like how many advertisers they are advertising at the same time as well. So when it comes to what will be the best, figures or ROI that you'll be looking at, I would still say that the best way, you still need to run your own A/B testing by yourself and gather the data for your own product, for your own company, and understands that for the product that you are selling, the pricing that you are pricing, the value that you're giving to the users, how much that your users are willing to pay as compared to your cost of advertisement from that. So then from there, you will be able to get your cost per acquisition. And slowly, then you need to digest further whether or not this cost per acquisition that you are receiving right here, right? Are you able to get your profit margin? Yeah, so whether or not you're making a profit or a loss. So if let's say you are making a loss, then you might need to look into tweaking the optimize your campaigns or optimize the products or pricing that you're offering. Maybe the price is slightly too high, or the value is not enough for your users for them to convert online. So there's a lot of different factors that will be affecting all this. But altogether, whether or not you are willing to spend this amount to acquire a customer.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think just to give a very good insight you share, depend on the cost, but coming from someone who used to be spending a lot of money digitally in those days, but I came from IT industry 20 years, right? I can tell you the margin for IT is single digit, maybe for manufacturer is double digit. So therefore, the cost of spending in marketing should be always be at most 2% if you're very lucky. Should be 1% below, but it all subject to industry. So always industry. But I also know that some SME friends of mine, they only do a couple of 100,000 type of business, but they can spend almost about 100,000 on keywords a month. Why? Because the industry give a different profit margin. So you all go back to your respective nature of business. In your return on investment, you have to look at them, right?
Yes.
So I think let's move on, right? We have some questions coming from I think Chen Hao Ken, right? Chen Hao is asking, Google are making SEO and SEM much more automatic over time. I think because of the nature of AI, because of things are getting more automatic, you felt, right? And what should we focus on strategy to stand out in performance? I think this question Jenny cannot answer, right? It's algorithm based, right? So maybe I'll pass this question to Shin, right? Shin. Sorry, I mean, just to coming from a US compliance company like Google's Jenny, right? They are always not in a position to give you in certain areas. So I just want to qualify to make sure I safeguard her in today's interest, right, Jenny? Yeah.
Okay, don't worry about it. Okay.
Then, Kenshi, maybe you want to help someone from a consultant outside. How do you bypass this trick to make sure you always stay on top of the game, right? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Guess that Jenny is not answering any.
No. I can answer this question. Like I said, if I can't answer, I will pass it to you, Kean.
Oh, right. Should I answer first?
I can kick it off first, okay?
Oh, all right. No,
maybe you should let Kian answer first, right? Because you set the rules. The one who set the rules cannot always. Let's see the one who play the rules. See how they like.
All right. Okay, so I would say that because of this both platform, right? Pretty much it's actually changing automatically over time with the algorithm changes. Yes, no doubt on that. But I would actually mention that it is much more impactful to use both of SEO and SEM together as a strategy, because if you're actually doing it well, your ads complement your SEO strategy, so as well as the SEM as well. So normally SEO typically taking longer to gain traction, but has better result, much more staying power, and without a lot of money spending, definitely a long run investment. And in SEM, for strategy, normally you're actually using or expedite the sales promotion cycle, ASAP about an event, a sales, a new product or a service. So while SEO is actually building the empire, right? So you can actually have SEM to go for the short run first. And all in all, I would actually mention on the most ideal result for using SEO and SEM together is actually the site land to the top organic search engine result page. So your company is actually driving even more visibility with an ad as well. So the user have the decision to click on your ad, whether it's actually relevant to the organic result. So in the end, with both platforms, we will have best of both. SEO drive top of the funnel leads, while SEM drive bottom funnel leads in this case. Yeah.
By adding video, does it add to it? Because people always add videos to their SEM today, right? Part of it.
Sorry, come again?
If you add videos content, linking to your keyword and a whole exercise of integrated campaign, does it help?
Yeah, it definitely helps, because SEO is also one of the function with SEO video. So for example, if let's say you're actually linking your video with video transcript, will actually make your video more accessible to larger audience. And then, the Google search board will actually eventually scribble for that, indexing more indexable text. That means that you can actually rank more queries from them. Yeah.
Right. Over to you, Jenny. What do you think in this space?
Yeah, I think, Chenao, that's a very good question when it comes to automation. You're absolutely right. We are trying to automate as much as possible because, there's so many signals that's coming out. With more and more people online, there's a lot of signals that's coming, the type of device you're using, the searches that you're making, where are you from, your age, the time of the search. So many different signals. It's very hard to manually try to drive performance on a manual way. By manually optimizing, it's very time consuming, very inefficient, especially, for businesses who at the end of the day just want to drive sales, right? So automation is very, very key. And it's a big thing that Google is looking at, actually machine learning as well as automation. The idea is, how can machine learning help you gather all this information and then drive your performance at scale? How can you do that to drive performance on Google Ads? There's so many things that we're trying to automate now. A very simple example is your ad copy. Previously you would just write your ad copy. You have your headlines and then you have your description. But now we are trying to change it by driving automation. It's like, you don't have to write your ad copy. You just gave, let's say, 10 different headlines, targeting different users. So, and then our system will automatically optimize towards the best headline that will drive you the conversion that you want. And then your job as businesses is figure out what's the ROI, like what Zevin said earlier, right? It's very important to know what ROI you're trying to get. Or what Sunny has said, in the different industry, the ROI could be very, very different. So try to figure out your ROI and then tell the system that this is the ROI that I want. You go and figure out how to find me that audience. And then that is on ad copy. Then we have something called dynamic search ad as well, where the system would crawl your website. And then depending on the search term that consumers are searching, you don't really care about the search term, we will show your ad if it can drive you that conversion that you want. So I feel automation is the way to go. And then how do you maximize it? It's key.
Right. Since many of people also ask about the word ROI and the optimization and so on, right? Since we're on this topic, I'm going to ask all the panelists this question today, right? And in your experience of working over the years in SEM SEO, right? Don't mention client name. I know it's sensitive, but if there's one project of one particular case study or best practice in the ROI returns, maybe you want to share what would that be? Maybe you can mention industry, but not brand name, company, or customer name. Top of your mind, right? What would that be? Maybe you can start with Zevin first. Yeah.
Okay. The one that I'm having like is actually a departmental store. So what happened during that time was that previously they have been running very traditional marketing, like for example, they print brochures, they send out postcard to their customers to let their customers to know, hey, I'm having a promotion, right? Discount going on, events going on. But during that time when I was doing the digital marketing campaign for them, they are very, very hesitant because it's something that they never tried before. They are so used to like, brochures, all the, like print media and things like that, right? Go on newspaper and so on. But they never try SEM online before. So when the moment that I proposed to them, they kind of like, whether or not they should go on with that. So at first they only allocate like less than, they are having 100% of their budgets, right? But they only allocate less than 5% to go on to Google ads, Google display ads, and Google search ads as well. But when the moment they first launched the campaign, they see double of the sales amount. When it comes to like all their history for the past whole years of their events that they will be looking at, every single year, that month itself, they'll be running the same campaign. The only thing different is the marketing effects that they are driving the traffic, the awareness and the exposure. So during that moment, they started to realize, hey, they can reach out to a wider audience from that. And slowly they increase their budget from 5% of their allocation to 10% and eventually to 50% of their allocation. But the still that they are looking at is actually double up of their.
Can I ask this question, Zevin? Is this customer of yours is a traditional mom and pop business also? Their target audience initially. You mentioned departmental store. Yeah.
Departmental store, but they are targeting only the neighborhood people that will go to that departmental store. So they don't reach out to like, to other states because pretty much you are restricted to the region.
Okay, so it's a geographical, so certain areas the customers face, right? But are their target groups young from 18 to 35, the ideal age for e-commerce, or no? Not really. Yeah.
Not really. It's above 30, so that's the range that they are targeting.
So Alvin Tay, perhaps this question will answer the question you typed in, right? How can SEO SEM actually help to B2B industry business? But again, this is B2C, right? So can I maybe ask the questions? Maybe thank you, Zevin, right? I'm going to ask this question maybe to address Alvin Tay questions, right? Is there anyone from Jenny or from Kenshi? I'm trying to one string kill two birds, right? In the sense that is there a way, in your opinion, of B2B successes from a case study in the past that you work with? Be it Shin or Jenny or answer. Yeah.
The question is B2B success, is it?
Yes.
Business to business. Oh, definitely. You might be surprised, Google search, people don't just search consumer product. They also search very niche stuff. Like, I had a friend who sells hospital equipment. So it's definitely B2B, right? They're trying to sell to hospitals. So they find that search actually convert very well for them because, hospitals will be searching as well and doing research. So B2B also work very, very well for businesses because people search all kinds of things. You just need to find the right keywords and all. So I also want to quickly address while I was typing my answer to Chia Eileen on what group of keywords works best in Google. So it works across B2B, B2C as well. Generally, how we structure campaigns, for example, is you should bucket keywords based on your brand first. So generally, if people are searching for a brand, it means they're very interested in you. You should be there because they'll drive the most optimum performance. Again, why do I say you need to be there? Organically, you could rank number one. You're absolutely right. But to what Kean said earlier, right? Sometimes you just want to promote certain things that you want to drive at quick and fast. That sometimes SEO might take a while. So SEM is useful there. So the first bucket is your branded terms first that you really want to make sure that you cover B2B or B2C. Secondly, you look at your category, like the earlier example, right, on hospital equipment. So then you might want to look at the category, like people searching specifically for hospital equipment. Not a lot, but when they do, they are your relevant customers. So that is the second category. Then there is a third category, which generally is more expensive. Generally, I try not to recommend unless it is very competitive, which is your competitor brand terms. Here you tend to have higher CPA, but if you're willing and you know that your offering is much better than your competitor and you're willing to go after them because it's acquisition, right? You can try it that way as well. So generally, that's how we bucket keywords that work best for your brand, your branded terms, generic terms, competitive terms.
I totally agree with you. I just want to share this actual example. So I'm actually in the e-commerce space in marketplace, right? Marketplace today also can buy keyword, right? And at times when some of the brands of certain category, they have a super brand day or campaign in certain marketplaces, you'll be surprised that some of the competitors actually buy the brand keyword to trying to steal the traffic. So the key is, some brand is doing something and you try to steal that keyword to make sure they come to buy your product instead. So this is another option that you can consider. But of course, this is a very costly level. Jenny said the third option, but it's effective, right? But the effectiveness of ROI is a different question altogether. You will sure get your sales in that case.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Shin, is back to you. Is there any example in particular that struck your mind, is ineffective that you want to share?
Yeah, definitely. Because we actually, in particular in SEO, right, I will actually strengthen on that because most of our clients are actually from B2B as well, but name cannot be mentioned here. So we have been trying to ranking for the client for the past few years on B2B and certain keywords. So throughout that time, we are actually trying a lot of article references to write. So from there, we are able to build further more content and then to rank up certain of the keywords. You'll be surprised that certain of the articles have actually been ranked on snippet features, as in the rich snippet. They can actually show out with images or maybe the FAQ question. So from here, because it's actually on the first page, because the important point is actually to get to rank the keywords with the content, because content is king in Google. So basically, if the content is actually ranked on the first page, majority of the traffic will actually coming in based on the blog article first, and they will actually start reading on it. And at the end of the article, we will have a call to action to actually drive people for inquiry submission from them. Yeah, so most of our clients from SEO, B2B, they have actually successful to drive more traffic and also converted some of the inquiry from there as well.
Thanks, Ken. Wow, I thought SEO SEM is a boring topic, right? We have a lot of questions coming in. We have a time trying to deal with it in the next probably about 20 minutes or so, right? Let's do our best and keep it short and answer as much as we can here. I think those preparation questions I did earlier, no need to use right now, so it's very good. Yeah. So in that case, let me just carry on. Right? I think we have this question from Jonathan asking that how would the latest Google algorithm update affect the website traffic and visibility? What should we focus to ensure high ranking? Is this okay to answer, Jenny? Yeah.
This is a tough one, Jonathan. Thank you for your inquiry. So this is my canned response. While I'm happy to assist you on Google Ads, SEO is something that, due to Google's policy and strict separation, between our search result as well as that driving our advertising business, not something that I can advise. Generally, I'll tell you to check out our webmaster guidelines. There's a lot of tips there to help you create sites that help index better, as well as rank your site. And then also, check out our Search Central. We have a Search Central YouTube channel. There's a lot of videos there. There's also a blog that should be helpful. And lastly, we also have that Search Central online community. So ask that question on the community. I know there's a lot of changes to the way algorithm is being measured. Every time there seems to be a lot of changes. So feel free to ask there. But I would pass on to Kean if he has anything else to add.
I like the way you do it.
Okay, so from our previous experience as an agency, right? Will Google penalize the ad or the page if there's no relevant content on target people? So yes and no, I would actually say, because there's no right answer here, and God knows what's the bots actually thinking, and Google always changing on that, and maybe someone will be filing complaint that you're actually targeting the keyword as well. So you might get penalized on the ads and then get disapproval from there. So yes, it's a yes or no answer, and if there's no relevant content, you can still actually target on it. But bear in mind, because if there's no relevant content, your relevancy score will be lower, and in order to rank your ads up will be much more difficult, and the cost per click will definitely be higher in this approach.
Got it. Thanks, Ken. Zevin, you want to take on this question from Chen Hao again? It's SEO SEM target on intended buyer. Would there be a loss of seller as well how can you improve the engine, and is there a web UX factors to stand out? Yeah.
Okay. Over right here, I think definitely in terms of to the whole internet world, right? We will have different kind of like sellers, but not all the sellers will be focusing on Google, or not all the sellers will be focusing on SEO or on SEM, right? So what we are looking at is more towards to the markets that you can tap into, the opportunity for you right there. And we are looking at over right here, the best way for you to advertise on Google is more towards to having a very good landing page. And you need to, you really need to plan out the content and the flow, because bear in mind that when it comes to online, there's no one that you can talk to like face to face. Like you cannot convince people right here via verbals, right? So everything will be based on the content that you put up on your website. So when the users search for your, be it on SEO, they search for the keywords, they look for your website, and that is the moment they have to fully base on the information that you put up for them to feel trust. Yeah, the only things that's happening online when your money is coming in is because the trust is being built and people trust you. That's why they are buying from you. So I think content is very, very important, and don't for my advisor, you really need to spend a lot of time in crafting your content right there, putting up quality images and relevant content, and try to solve all the FAQ that you can think of when the moment that the user are buying from you. So if you can, you can put all this information on your website or your landing page, even before your customer asks the question, pretty much you can already, convert a sales right there. So this is some things that's usually for my sites, I will allocate my time, 80% of my time in crafting the contents and, make sure that all the information is ready. Only 20% of my time is setting up. So it's like the other side.
Got it. Thank you. I totally agree with you. I mean, someone who, my background is in really marketing, building brands, right? So some of you may know this, the consumer purchase journey. A lot of people neglected. They went in too technical to look at the technical part about keyword search and so on. But they neglected the important what Zevin just mentioned, right? You need to understand the consumer purchase journey about, if you know the marketing well, someone will tell you the first moment of truth, the second moment of truth. But because of the digital world, we have something called a zero moment of truth. Zero moment of truth is that actually you learn about the brand, you associate with the brand from an awareness perspective before you even consider want to buy or acquire the brand. Because of someone have social media posting, you heard about a friend owning it, you heard about someone posting in the Facebook and so on, or a brand that comes out to you because you visited the site, the remarketing targeting you. So that is a form of zero moment of truth. But when you actually want to go into buying a product, what you call a first moment of truth, is where you do a purchase consideration stage. In that stage, I think a lot of questions in the mind of consumer like yourself will probably ask a lot of questions. What Zevin mentioned, those FAQ are important questions to address. In the past, they have a chance to visit the showroom, to speak to you in person. You can give your best sales consultant job to do it. But in the online world, it's all about content, your video, your preparation of the questions. Of course, finally, eventually, once they own it, it's a different story, right? The second moment of truth is after sales service and so on. It's still important because you have a bad review. It can actually, jeopardize your whole effort throughout your consumer purchase journey of the customer acquisition. So this is actually a lesson. So to answer the questions, or maybe I have to answer this from Rachel Wong. Rachel Wong asked about, is that the best place to learn about e-commerce, digital marketing, and so on? I think it takes years to build this knowledge, but the best is that the best place to start is start with Google. You go to you go to the Google website and you search the keyword. There are a lot of courses, content available. You need to spend some time to load. The shortcut, of course, is to attend seminar at least. The 1 hour, you probably get the best. This, like I call it a shortcut way to learn things. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. You need to go in to do more research into respective topics. A lot of people ask where is the best place. I think Jenny shared some sites just now. You can maybe Jenny type into the chat where can they actually go to Google site to look for information about SEO SEM so that they are not blindly guided, right? So this is a question we try to answer. The next question we have is from
Jenny. If I add on a little bit just now on the content, again, yes, content is important, but for small businesses, sometimes you might not have a lot of time to come up with, multiple content that you want. Sometimes you don't require a lot of content. You just need 1 or 2 good content. So case in point is, let's say if you are selling, a very niche halal cosmetic, you are trying to sell your halal lipstick. You don't have to come up with like 10,000 content. You just need 1 or 2 articles, maybe to talk about the benefit of halal cosmetic, or your unique selling point kind of thing, that to do with why should you go for halal cosmetic. You don't have to come up with a lot of content, 1 or 2, and then look at what people are searching for. I always find, look at what people are searching for, and then just focus on 1 or 2 article or 1 or 2 content related to the search. So then you can, basically reach consumer at the mid funnel. Because by the time you try to reach when people are already searching for halal lipstick, you would have lost it already, because consumer have already decided. So the 0 moment of truth, the first moment of truth is very, very important. I'm conscious that businesses here are also, trying to survive and all. So don't go all out with content, focus 1 or 2 first. And then once you get that right, then you come up with more. Don't wait until you come up with everything, then only want to go one shot. It takes too long. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Jenny. So another question from Eileen asking, is there a best click-through rate for brand awareness campaign? But I believe this is very subjective to the industry, very subjective to the campaign objective, right? So a good example, a good click-through rate in the online world may not necessarily bring you the best conversion rate. Sometimes I always say that a big campaign, you bring a lot of traffic, but if the traffic does not equals to sales conversion, that means you're going to drop in sales conversion rate. So what do you want? You need to balance both sides, right? Bringing quality traffic to make sure you have the good percentage of sales conversion so that you don't drop in the campaign day is also pretty important. So I hope that I answered the question here for Elaine. Yeah. So next question we have is that from Michelle Fong asking about, for a startup on struggling company, SEO take time to build, SEM require costs. Be minimal enough, almost everyone taking SEM approach during this pandemic. Are there any tips to stay on top of the game? Depends on whether the Michelle question is that, is this for a brand.com business? Is it for a marketplace business? So I probably will approach that. For instance, if you are doing for your own brand.com, you have to start from somewhere, regardless how small the budget is. So if anyone here can agree or disagree to give the tips. But if you are looking at marketplace, then I would say that focus on to enriching your content. So one example I personally want to give that I do not mention one of the brand I mentioned. It's actually a mouse brand. It's supposed to be a silent mouse. A lot of you don't know, right? When you buy a mouse, there's this mouse called a silent mouse and non-silent mouse. We have a product doing very, the price is almost about 40 ringgit, but at point we have the best price and the best promotion market, but it doesn't move. I have thousands of units in the warehouse, it doesn't move. So we were doing an analysis, taking all my team for a brainstorm. So I see that how can you portray an image of a silent mouse with just picture that you can sell, right? So one of my interns actually very creatively find a very cute girl with a sound like that, putting next to the mouse. And you know what? Next week, 2 weeks onwards, a few thousand fly off the roof. So that is content make the world different in the case of marketplace or the content. So you need to look at a creative way of selling the products, right? But of course, if you are a brand owner, you may not do the type of image on top. But if you are a marketplace seller, you can consider always doing that, or even in your own personal website or your banners. So you need to be creative. Marketing is always very lively. You need to be creative to how do you connect to the consumer, all right? So I would answer the question, Michelle, right? Let's carry on. Interesting, you have a lot of questions coming in, right? And okay, I think we have from Jonathan is that what target when targeting competitor keyword in Google's branding, right? Will Google penalize and page with no relevance content on a target page? Maybe this question Jenny can answer, right?
Yeah, definitely. So that's why like I said, competitive terms are expensive terms because Google deem it as not relevant to the, let's say you're a brand trying to promote, right? You're targeting competitive. So from a search perspective, people are not looking for you, but you're trying to be there. So definitely you end up paying slightly higher cost. I won't say penalize. We would still show your ad if you're willing to bid high enough for it. But so that's why we always say your ad copy, try to get it as close as possible to your brand or to your competitive targeting. So yes, definitely there will be some slight, I won't call it penalized, but you end up paying slightly more. There's no penalty, but your ad rank will be slightly lower than if you are your own brand trying to promote your own website.
Got it. Thanks. So there are questions regarding from Kean asking about the gap between B2B, B2C is closing. I felt middleman is disappearing every single day. I think Kean, the answer to you is true. I can answer you from e-commerce. Someone in this for a while. There's this trend called D2C, right? Direct consumer from factories, so emerging right now. There's a lot of term, but nonetheless, these are all business models. I think I wouldn't bother about B2B, B2C, or D2C. But in actual fact, I look at it from a traditional marketing, right? There's a seller, there's a buyer. There is a communication medium that you need to achieve. I think the digital tools here we talk about, the SEO SEM, what can you do in that perspective of trying to engage a seller to a buyer in the digital form, right? The term B2B, B2C, D2C, to us, I think there'll be a lot of new terminology coming up. It doesn't really matter actually, but look into how to connect to the consumer in the typical consumer or customer purchase journey of your products. Yeah.
Sunny, I won't say it's disappearing. I think it's changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. D2C, I feel D2C is the model that will drive growth in 2021 and beyond. In fact, there's a report from McKinsey. People are wondering like how much percentage. We're not saying 100% move to direct to consumer, right? This report from McKinsey says that ideally you want it at least 20% to be direct to consumer. 20% or higher, that's where your profits start changing as well. If it is anything below, then you might end up losing money because of the volume, right? So 20% or higher. In fact, there's a very, very good case study for people here who want to read more about how brands move towards D2C. One of the biggest case study that came my way was actually Nike. So Nike is a very traditional brand, right? It's always, in a way, they're not really direct to consumer. They go through retailers sell it off. So they're trying, because of the pandemic, they're trying to move direct to consumer. So read it up, search for it, the Nike case study on how they coin it like, consumer direct offense, try to reach their consumer directly. So it's a good case study. It's available on the web. I've read a few of them. So they talk about their strategy on how they move towards a direct to consumer business. So check it out there.
Got it, right. I think we have last 5 minutes or so. I'm going to take maybe 2 more questions from here, then we'll probably do a wrap up, right? In the interest of time, I know we are standing within you at lunchtime right now, right? And so this simple question, maybe just go quick, right? How does Google call web visit affect SEO? So maybe anyone or Jenny want to take this question? It's more Google technical, right? Google call web.
Ken?
Ken, okay.
Right. This one we actually did slightly study into that as well. So Web Vital to everyone, right? For this one is actually like a set of specific factors that Google consider important, mostly to web page, like overall user experience. So maybe like UI, UX from here. So they actually made out of 3 specific: page speed and user interaction measurement. So mostly are actually like content pain, like first input delay on cumulative layout shift. So they actually put in a way like page experience score. So basically Google way of sizing up your page overall UX from here. So if you're actually looking how it actually does affect, is because they are actually Google are actually introducing a new signal that actually combining this core web with vitals to our existing signal. So for example, that factors like Google consider important for user, like, so sorry about that. Yep. HTTPS, mobile friendly, layout intersection, pop-ups, and safe browsing. So how it actually affect, most importantly, that it will actually affect most of the ranking in the future. So most of the competitors nowadays are actually looking into this. So you will have to always constantly checking on your page speed, UI UX, your layout, structuring, and all those stuff that those normal SEO that we usually do on that. So like optimization on the title and meta description and all that heading tag optimization as well. So it's basically the fundamental of SEO, but they're actually changing most of it to actually impact the SEO in the future as well.
Right. Thanks, Ken. I think we have a question from us the same thing about the limited budget. How do you spend and ad allocation? My advice, I think maybe I'll have to answer this one. Zevin, feel free to come in. Right? I feel that regardless of how big the allocation budget, if you're doing for a platform, you need to invest something from a start. It all proportion to the sales, right? It's always the ROI measurement that we're talking about. There's never right or wrong. Sometimes you can be overly invest for a period, but with the objective or getting certain threshold of the benchmark to reach your sales goal, then you can actually slow it down because you'll become an SEO eventually, right? SEM can actually help to boost your SEO eventually after a certain stage. Am I right? For expert like Zevin? Yeah. Yeah. For new starter, right? Yeah.
To see this right, I think it's more two ways to whether or not you are planning to run your business long term or short term. To me, okay, because even though SEO takes time to rank, right, but in the long run you will benefit from that. Like I used to have like I started my e-commerce business like 9 years ago, right? So I started my SEO ranking right there. But throughout these 9 years, I didn't really update that much on their website. But still now today it's still ranking. So it's something that's it has been, you know, constantly generating traffic. So I understand that sometimes when it comes to like business decisions that you want to, you know, get some sales right now during these periods of times over right here. Okay. And also at the same time, it's more towards to allocating budget this part. If you know that if you allocate 100, you'll be able to generate 1,000 back in return. Nothing will stop you to put in more budget. You understand what I'm saying? Nothing will stop you because most of the time people will be asking me, hey, what is the budget? I said there's only minimum budget, but there's no maximum budget. It's more towards how much you want to make. If you want to, like, you spend 100, you can generate 1,000. If you want to generate 2,000, you need to increase your budget. So this is like on how you can reach out to a wider audience. That's where you can reach out to more potential customer. But still coming to the point, if really, really, really the company has no budget for advertisement, then you might need to look for alternative channel like social media, go on live, you know, on other channels that will be able to give you some other exposures like that. So SEM or advertisement is not the only path, but it's more towards what you want to achieve at the end of the day. So you need to answer that in order for you to decide which channel, which strategy to go on.
Yeah. Thanks, Zevin. I think I have one last question, but let me just answer it very quick for Raymond, right? I think Raymond asked about current people knowing SEO is important, but for techie, know that it does not take time to import. It depends on the product item, as not everything can link to top result. I agree, not everything you spend can link to result. But how, as a freelancer, how do you convince the client to pay for the price or not? I think it's always very subjective, right? I think this is more like a business quotation question rather than how to get it done, right? So I don't think we can answer it live here at Raymond. Yeah. So, but nonetheless, okay, I think the time is about here. Let us just do a quick wrap up. Maybe can each one of you take about 1 minute to 1.5 minutes to wrap up. What would be the one key takeaway advice that you would like to advise our audience here today? We have over 200+ audience here today. Regards to SEO and SEM, right? And what would be the one key advice? I mean, we'll start with Kean. Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, the one key away, right, I would actually really recommend most of the clients that they can actually use SEO and SEM together as because they actually contemplate in between these two strategies together for your website to rank eventually. Because SEO in the long run, you can actually start to compile your website and build your empire there. And SEM is actually, most of it is actually bidding of the keywords. So whenever you actually start driving traffic from the pay ads, right, you are eventually complementing on SEO as well. So keep in mind that any long run keywords that you're actually targeting for like long tail keywords that you can actually start targeting on SEO, while the short tail keywords that you can actually run on SEM, so that it will actually be more precise that SEM is much more on driving more to conversion. SEO is much more on in the long run on organic traffic from there. Yeah.
Thanks. SEO and SEM together, right? Zevin, over to you. Yeah.
Okay, I fully agree on Kean. And over here, I just want to add on is this concept I has been always implementing for myself and also for my clients, right? What I would suggest is that don't put all the eggs into one basket. Diversify your traffic and diversify your traffic source is very, very important. And once again, I'm going to highlight again, think about it, whether or not your product is going to offer long-term, meaning to say evergreen products throughout 365 days, or a short-term products where you're going to just have like a promotion campaigns on it. Yeah, so if long-term, the best way for you to go for it definitely is SEO, because throughout the long run, it will definitely reduce your costings right there. Yeah, but short-term campaign, if you want to maximize your sales to boost up your awareness and your exposures right there, definitely go with SEM.
Thank you. Yeah. Jenny, the last one for you, tough one, right?
I think I have a very, very simple one. Zevin and Kean say a good one. I would say do not underestimate the value of good ad copywriting on your search ad. Maximize your real estate. If you're going to be investing on SEM, make sure you maximize your real estate. We have so many extensions, call out, site links, and so on and so forth for you to maximize it. You want to get, on the mobile, especially, you want to own 100% of the real estate. Also, I want to take this opportunity to say we recently launched image extension. So like I said, image picture tells 1,000 words. Consider adding image extension to all your search ad today.
Right. Thank you, Jenny, and thank you, everyone. I just want to say once again, thank you all panelists, Kean, Zevin, and Jenny, for, of course, our wonderful audience here, 200 plus, for spending time with us in the last session. There are some questions in the chat. Unfortunately, we don't think we can answer every single one in this moment, but all the questions in the panel have been answered. I think we did a good job as a whole. All right. Thank you all working together to address that. And please if you like this session, please give us a 1. And you will see us here next year again in your chat. Right. And back to you, Lauren. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, Sunny. Now I realize you gave everybody an opportunity to wrap up. So how about I give you maybe about 1-2 minutes to say a couple of things, because I thought you did a wonderful job, Sunny.
For myself, yeah.
Yeah, for yourself.
Yeah, I think I would say that this pandemic, of course, we are facing through right now, is not something we want. I think this is unexpected. It's really the word unprecedented has been overused. But I think whatever it is that we have to say this, right, we have to leverage on what is available technology in front. I think e-commerce is definitely one of the areas you can actually explore the salvage part of the damages of whatever business you are in to complement and also to build a future, right? And I know nothing about e-commerce 6 years ago, right? I'm a pure old school IT veteran in the bricks and mortar business. I picked up everything these few years. I don't claim to be an expert, but I think everyone in this room, especially those who are younger age than me, can do a better job, for sure. But all it takes is that you need to make sure that you learn every day and you continue to improve. That whatever you learn in this today is not guaranteed the success tomorrow, because technology changes so fast, especially in the space of the evolving trend of, we talk about business model, talk about technology, e-commerce. But at least I was telling you, Jenny, right? The people in the room, you see Zevin and Kean, I see the way they graduate the degrees, they are in the 20-somethings. That's where I was already working, right? So it is the people who are in the younger age have definitely advantage. I always wish that I'm 30s, right? That's always the case. So with all that, I say thank you very much again. Hand over back to you, and stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye. Yeah.
All right, wonderful job, you guys. Let's say thank you once again to Sunny, Kean, Zevin, and Jenny. A wonderful, wonderful panel discussion. I thought it was informative, and I'd just like to thank all of you for answering the questions so early and for taking as many as you can. I think everybody is appreciating that, and you can see in the comments right now, everybody is going crazy. So thank you once again, and for really just wrapping everything, for helping us come full circle for the last 3 weeks. This was a wonderful way to end the e-commerce fest 2021. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.
Exabytes. Grow your business online.